Well, guys, welcome to a special episode of With Your Young Guns podcast. Today has been a crazy day for the Montreal Canadiens and their fan base. Martin St. Louis, who has no coaching experience, has been named the intern head coach of the Montreal Canadiens, and Dominique Ducharme has been relieved of his services of being the Montreal Canadiens head coach, even though he's still going to get paid by the organization and they're still paying Claude Julien. Um, well, there's a lot to say essentially about this hiring. It's come to a shock to many of us. People thought it was going to be Guy Boucher. People thought it was going to be Ben Grud. Um, who else was there? Patrick Roy as well. A lot of bilingual coaches from Quebec and Martin St. Louis from Laval, Quebec. That's crazy because we're from Laval, Quebec. So, I mean, to see representation on our team, especially as a head coach, and Martin St. Louis, absolute legend, Hall of Famer, New York
Yeah.
Rangers ex-player, Tampa Bay Lightning ex-player. So, very, very interesting concerning this hiring. And we're going to be, diving in and, breaking it down essentially and giving our thoughts and what this means essentially for the Montreal Canadiens and why not hire him as a head coach and why label him as the intern head coach. So, guys, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, we kind of saw this coming like a couple of months. I didn't see Marty St. Louis becoming the coach of the Habs, but I'm saying like we saw Dominique Ducharme getting fired sooner rather than later. I mean, look, especially the last week and a half, 2 weeks there, the last couple of games, especially in the month of January and early February, the Canadians looked horrible. Like, yes, we knew they were bad, and yes, they were playing bad, and yes, it was this whole struggle and whatever. But they genuinely like looked like they didn't even want to be there. Like the players weren't even playing for the coach and whatever. And some people can argue and say, "Oh, Ducharme, you went to Stanley Cup final." Yes, but it helped. Carey Price helped that whole situation out too. The point that I'm trying to make is you've got a situation here where Ducharme leaves, and rightfully so. I don't think he's fully to blame. I think their players are also to blame as well.
Also, the injuries and
Yes,
the moves that
but
Mark Bergevin made during the
yeah,
offseason as
and
well.
I'm not going to sit here and start bashing him because I think it's unfair to do that because again, he did deal with injuries, he dealt with a bunch of stuff, whatever. But I think that the biggest problem with Dominique Ducharme that I had is the refusal to change system and to change lines and to change the way he does things and the approach that he goes about the game. And to me, it felt like he had lost the room in December. Like, I think before that, I was like, okay, there are injuries, whatever, it's a bad year. But then in December, I felt like, okay, this guy's actually lost the room completely. And so to me, it was about, okay, you got to get this guy out. And you've got guys like Paling, you've got guys like Caulfield, you've got guys like Romanov, Primo, whatever. And they're not being used in the proper way that young prospects should be used. And that was the biggest problem with Dominique Ducharme, is the fact that it felt like he wasn't using them properly. Marty St. Louis, I'm really excited about. And the reason I'm excited about it is because, A, it's an interim head coach position. So at the end of the season, if he doesn't do well, whatever, the Canadians don't have to bring him back, which is fine. But the thing that's interesting about him, look at Rod Brind'Amour in Carolina. When Rod Brind'Amour came into Carolina, he had no coaching experience whatsoever, zero. He coached at a Pee Wee level, and he coached for his kids' team, and that was about it. And Carolina hired him because he had played for the franchise and whatever. And there was a lot of talk about, oh my God, Rod Brind'Amour's coming back to Carolina. Let's see what happens here. And he's built, him and obviously the GM as well have built a really good team that's doing really, really well. I'm not saying that that's going to happen in Montreal, but I'm saying in terms of having a guy who's completely outside the box in Marty St. Louis, you're looking at a new complete dynamic in Montreal, right? They bring in the best president of hockey operations in Jeff Gordon. They bring in an under-the-radar GM in Kent Hughes, who, yes, he had field in the hockey business or whatever, but never became a GM. And now you're bringing in a guy who's never coached before, but is from Laval, is from, Montreal, the Quebec area, and has played and won a Stanley Cup as a player. So he understands what it takes to win. And to me, I'm very, very excited. I'm excited for this new regime in Montreal, and I'm excited to see what happens moving forward because, man, this is going to be very, very interesting.
And Chris, this puts a smile on my face because we know that Martin St. Louis is your favorite player of all time.
And it is.
On your birthday, too.
And it's on my birthday.
And it's your birthday,
I know.
too.
It's crazy. I'm honestly trying to retain some tears here. I actually am. Like, it is tearing up a bit. But honestly, I get very emotional when it comes to the Habs. Uh, but here's what's awesome is that before Christmas, or was it after? No, I'm pretty sure it was before Christmas. They fired was it
Bergevin.
Mark Bergevin? So I was like, "Ah, Christmas gift for Chris." I was like, thank you. Then on my birthday, what do? A birthday gift. They fired Dominique Ducharme. I'm like, thank you. And then what do? A second bonus gift, and they hire Marty St. Louis. I'm like, oh my god, what a day! What a day! I should go play the lottery.
You're
I'm
gonna
also
remember. You're
gonna
gonna remember this one for a long time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna add basically what Luca to what Luca was saying before that Ken Hughes, when describing what he wanted as a head coach, was a modern day head coach. I'm really hoping that he ends up like Rod Brendamore, and that would be like fantastic. Honestly,
Listen, I just hope there's no more dump and chase. I'm fed
no,
up of
I
seeing
Oh,
don't
it.
we
think
gotta
so.
stop with that. Yeah, we gotta stop.
I'm fed up of seeing it.
But
Every single guy that comes, it's always the same. I just hope to see something new and something fresh.
Bro,
And
skate the
and
even
puck
that's
into
what's
the zone,
and
happening.
please.
and here's the thing, though. A lot of people don't make this connection. Marty St. Louis is a small player,
Yeah.
right? Playing in the NHL. The Habs, I'm not like I'm gonna say facts. They're all pretty short guys.
And like, I
Little
guess who they
So
have
Caulfield.
on their team?
Cole
Cole
Caulfield.
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 So
Exactly.
if anybody's gonna benefit from this, it's gonna be Cole Caulfield, and I think it's great. And the reason as to why he's not officially the coach is because they gave Dominic Ducharme 3 years, and now they're stuck paying him. They're
Yeah.
still paying Claude Julien. So I feel like if they do give him a contract, and let's say it were 3 years, and something were to happen, I think Jeff Molson
Yeah,
is
I
just
think
I
it's
think he's
more of
gonna
a.
get a little bit pissed paying off 9 years worth of
I think it's
coaches,
just a more of a playing it.
contracts.
I think they're just playing it safe, and I think that's the right way to do it. Which I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's what 3 months left in the season, right? March, April, plus and end of February. So there's about 3 months left in the season.
And then there's
I'm
the
not
golf
saying,
season.
yeah, but the Habs are not going there, so it's fine.
No, I
But
said the golf
oh, the
season.
golfing season. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna go play golf at UFO. But anyways, the point is that with Marty St. Louis, like nobody's expecting Marty St. Louis to come in and the Habs to like. I mean, if Marty St. Louis comes in and the Habs win 10 straight games, I don't know if I'll be happy or sad, but we'll see. But the point that I'm trying to make is I just want to see a team that's competitive. You want a team like look yesterday losing 7-1 to New Jersey, like that's discouraging. Like even for Habs fans, like okay, yes, we expect. Yes, this team sucks. Fine, okay, whatever. Yes, they're struggling, but at least show some fight. Like, give a shit a little bit. And so I think even with Marty St. Louis coming in, there's going to be more pride because they're going to be like, oh, he's a new guy, right? Now, we fired the GM, we fired the coach. Now it's on us. It's on us
What
to focus on that. Plus, there's trade rumors and whatever. So a lot of these guys that are here are not going to be here come end of March. So the point that I'm trying to make is this is a lot of opportunities for not only Marty St. Louis to assess the team and figure out what players to build around, but it's an opportunity for him to kind of show his worth in the NHL as well. To say, you know what, I'm going to come in, I'm going to try to see what I can do. And again, it's really great that it's a hockey player that's coming in to coach this team because what I love is that he understands the players' perspectives. He gets it. Right, he's been through it. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's got over 1,000 points in his NHL career. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it takes to be successful in this league. And I think that it's a really new perspective in Montreal, which is something that's fantastic.
It's about time. It's about time, guys.
Which is good. We've been asking for this for the last decade almost.
Yeah,
So
I would say for maybe the last 5 to 10 years, we've been always saying, we need a fresh look for this organization.
Yeah.
We're always recycling the same players, coaching staff, whatever.
Yeah, we actually did recycle the same coaches and in the same order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also some of the same
Yeah.
players. Bringing back guys like Francis Bouillon and Jeff Halpern 1 year, too. Just bringing back old guys for just for the sake of it. For just I don't even know what to say about that. I think it's pathetic on that part. But this to see finally Montreal moving away from hiring Montreal Canadian players that played for them in the past or people that were somewhat tied within the Montreal Canadiens organization at one point in their careers, to move away from that and to go hire people outside of Montreal. That's fantastic. Martin St. Louis has been living the majority of his life in Tampa Bay because that's where he played. Then he played for New York Rangers, so he has an American perspective of as well of hockey, not just a Canadian. Even though he was
Yeah,
born and raised in Quebec, so that's really interesting to see that. And like you were saying, it makes sense to have St. Louis under a contract where he's not a head coach because they're stuck paying two guys that are not even coaching in the NHL currently. So money wise, this
yeah,
makes sense, and also because I'm not gonna take anything away from him. He is the cheapest option because
of
he doesn't
course.
have any coaching
But
experience. So
And
it
one
kind of makes sense. But
one thing that I find really really cool. Before Chris, you can go and talk. Uh, it's actually really cool because in Laval we have a hockey arena that's named after Marty St. Louis. And to now, not only is it funny, but like, for a guy like my brother, right, who plays hockey and whatever, Marty St. Louis Arena, like people that go into step into Marty St. Louis Arena now are gonna be like, oh my God, this guy's the coach of the Montreal Canadiens. Like it's really cool to see that as well, and being a local guy or whatever. So that's really cool. Anyways, Chris, I know you wanted to say something, so
Yeah. Basically, what I was gonna try to say is, I don't think this is the only change that's coming. I think there's gonna be a lot more firings and a lot more hirings, development, other
yeah,
coaches,
yeah,
oh
other
yeah, for
office
sure,
scouting,
for sure.
people,
yeah,
scouts. It's gonna happen. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like I think whoever, I don't know exactly who the staff is. I don't know them by heart, the names. I know a few of them. I think they got a little too comfortable at their job, and I feel like that's when you get a little too comfortable and you feel like I feel
Yeah.
like it's very,
unacceptable.
they do a half-assed job, and it's passable because no matter what, we're gonna watch hockey even if they lose. Like, let's face it,
Of course.
So
we're a
Um,
big
I'm
hockey
just
market.
gonna add a couple more things concerning St. Louis. Look, his height has been something that was playing a factor in his career. You're too small. You're never gonna make it. This and that. So for him to defy all the odds, essentially, and I'm not even sure if he was even drafted. I don't think he was drafted, Martin St. Louis.
I
Um,
don't remember.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't drafted. But with that saying,
I
he's
don't think
he,
so either.
so he's a true role model for players, especially a guy like Cole Caulfield, who honestly his game under Dominique Ducharme has really, really taken a turn for the worse. So working with Martin
Yeah,
St.
I'll
Louis,
draft.
um, who understands a guy like Cole Caulfield, being undersized in the best league in the world concerning hockey, that I think it's gonna translate very well, and they're gonna have a very good connection one on one. But
Yeah.
also, he has great qualities. He's a lovable personality. He has a lot of connections in the hockey world because of who he is. Essentially, he's a Hall of Famer. He played 1,134 games, and he finished with 1,033 points. So, scoring 391 goals and 642 assists. So there was rumors that Vincent Lecavalier might be hired as assistant GM in the Montreal Canadiens organization. And now that seems even more likely because you already have Martin St. Louis.
How cool would
So
it be if they becomes the assistant coach?
Huh.
I mean,
Pretty
that's
cool.
even possible too. But the reason why they haven't fired the rest of the coaching staff is because St. Louis has no experience as of right
Yeah,
now.
but I think even at that, okay, I know that. I mean, firing the assistant coaches right now would make no sense either because you can't exactly go and just sign a guy off the street. I mean, I know that technically you could turn around and say Marty St. Louis is a guy off the street because technically, he has no coaching experience. But what I'm
Off
saying is, huh?
off the street, I don't know, but
Okay, but I'm saying like in terms like
Is
I'm
that
saying
homeless?
coaching wise.
Smarty St. Louis, man, come
No,
on,
but I'm
it's like
saying like
hiring Wayne Gretzky to coach.
no, but
I mean,
what I'm
that did
saying
not
is,
work
hey,
out well for the Arizona
that was a bad
Coyotes.
I know,
reference.
but
That
still.
was a bad reference, and I
Well, I'm just
apologize.
saying, it's he's a
Yeah.
hockey player. It's not a nobody.
But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is with
Hiring
assistant
me
coaches.
would be off the streets.
Yeah, but like basically what I'm trying to say is like in terms of the assistant coaches and whatever, even if they fire the assistant coaches now, they have to replace those guys. And like Chris said, Marty St. Louis doesn't really have anybody that he knows that he's coached with, whatever, right? And even at that, I have a feeling that if the Canadians do end up struggling or whatever, those guys are most likely going to end up leaving at the end of the season anyways. And so there's going to be other changes probably made in the offseason, whatever. But if Marty St. Louis impresses the team really, really a lot to the point where he even becomes head coach permanently in the offseason, that would be really cool. What I'm
And
interested in
yeah,
and what I want to ask you guys, because I'm really curious, is what do you guys think Marty St. Louis' job is to do for the remainder of the season?
Well, I'm
Going
gonna
into the remainder of the season, what's his one job that he has to do?
will help with the development of the youth essentially. I think
Yeah,
that's key. That's been something that was mentioned in a lot of press conferences or interviews with Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon, that's something that they're heavily uh focusing on. It's a major factor moving forward in order to bring Montreal back to not essentially the glory days, but to bring them to to give them a chance to win the Stanley Cup, or at least compete and become contenders again, and make the playoffs regularly instead of missing out missing the playoffs, like more than making the playoffs. This is a team
yeah,
that's building towards youth. There's going to be a lot of changes. I just wanted to say one quick thing. Okay, Dominic Ducharme, according to rumors over the last couple of weeks, that he was scheduled to have a meeting during the All-Star break. I think that's what happened, and they gave him one more chance, and he blew it literally his first game back against the New Jersey Devils, and
yeah.
that's why he got fired. Another thing I would like to say, this is a little joke. February is not a good month for Montreal Canadian coaches, as Michel Therrien was fired on February 14, 2017. Claude
Coach,
Julien was
yeah,
fired February 24th, 2021, and now Dominic Ducharme
yeah,
follows those guys, as he's been
crazy.
fired today on February 9th, 2022. Dominic Ducharme's record last season in the 2020-2021 season: 15 wins, 16 losses. So the accumulated 37 points as a
You
head
know
coach.
that you know that he is the I think I read somewhere that he is statistically, in terms of win percentage, he is the second lowest, has the second lowest win percentage out of any coach that's ever coached the Montreal
Yeah,
Canadiens in their history.
and they finished
I
fourth.
believe the only one that I think what's worse is I think Randy Cunnerworth, who only coached the Habs for half a season, has a better wins percentage than Dominic Ducharme does.
I'm just gonna finish up here.
Yeah,
They finished fourth in the Canadian division, which was proclaimed as a weak division. But in the playoffs, they had a Stanley Cup run, and they lost. They had 22 games played, 13 wins, 9 losses. This season, complete disaster in the 2021-2022 season. 45 games coached under Dominic Ducharme, 8 wins, 30 losses, being dead last in the NHL standings, and accumulating only 23 points.
yeah.
And they're currently eighth, and that's where they're going to finish because there's no coming back from that. And, after Josh Anderson's comments yesterday stating that we have to make hockey fun again, I feel embarrassed, to be honest with you. We need to get out of this funk. It's not fun to come to the rink. We need to make hockey fun again and refresh our whole aspect of what hockey is. We can't get embarrassed like that. It's not right. We need everyone to be ready to go next game. Josh Anderson's a leader. I think he should stay moving forward. I know his contract's not the best, but
I disagree. I think it's a good contract for the player he
I think
is.
the term is a bit
yeah, but essentially
term
that's
is
what
a bit
those
bad.
are the type of, if you're going into a rebuild, this is the type of player that you want to be leading that
Yeah.
rebuild. I'm not saying he's going to be captain. I think he should be given the assistant captain role moving forward once like the trade deadline has passed and the offseason has passed and majority of the players are gone. And there's a lot of prospects and rookies in the system. I think the new core essentially should be, if Brandon Gallagher's still here, should be
Mhm.
Josh Anderson, assistant captain, Gallagher, assistant captain,
Yeah.
and captain Nick Suzuki. I think
I
that's
agree.
what's going to work moving forward. And one last point concerning Martin St. Louis hiring, I think they also hired him as an intern coach because there's a couple of coaches that they were looking at beforehand that are under contract until the end of the season. So maybe they didn't get permission to talk
Maybe.
to any of those coaches, essentially. So maybe that's why there's kind of somewhat of a short leash for Martin St. Louis to prove himself within the small time frame heading into the offseason. Because if he does not do a good job, and they have nothing to lose essentially, so why not give this guy a shot? So once it's done, and let's say he does not do a good job, at least they have options in the offseason.
Yeah.
Here's why I think you're when you let as a fan or even as a player, you see Jeff Gordon, you see Kent Hughes, and you see Marty St. Louis. Those are your three main guys right now. To me, that screams. And free agency, there's gonna be a lot of players that are willing to come and play here now.
It's a fresh look for Montreal. You know,
Yeah, you know.
That's what I mean. It also depends. I've been hearing a lot of things about too the restrictions, that the restrictions in Quebec is going to
yeah,
determine whether the players would want to come here or not.
Well, yeah, there's that too to take into account. But what I'm saying is, for years we've been like struggling to get big names or even like just anybody to come here, and you know I feel like it is a factor that that we are in a high paying tax like location, but I think it's when it comes down to is the staff and like the way, and it starts from the top. So the staff makes the team doesn't attract anybody, and the staff doesn't put any effort to make the team
Yeah,
attractable. And I feel like Jeff Gordon, if he convinced Panarin to go to a rebuilding New York Rangers team,
he also
um,
threw a lot of money at him too.
well, yeah, there's that. I feel like anything is possible, especially with these three guys. I trust the process.
I
Look,
trust the
I
process.
love all these moves. I think we're all in agreement when it comes to these moves so far. They're
Yeah,
heading in a fresh and very
I never thought I'd
exciting.
say that. I never thought I'd say it.
I
The
love
Montreal
it. Like,
Canadiens have made great three moves so far.
yeah, concerning the
Let's
Hopefully,
hope
the
it
fan base,
deadline.
continues.
and if they're able to add more guys, like the likes of Vincent Lecavalier, who's been linked to the Montreal Canadiens to some capacity within the organization, that would be
Yeah,
an absolute win as well. But here on forward, I would say the next step is to focus on the NHL trade deadline,
yeah,
scouting and looking for like the assistant GM and the other positions to fill or to replace other people that have yet to be relieved of their duties. I think that's going to happen within the year as the season continues and during the off season. But it's definitely a very exciting time, refreshing time for the Montreal Canadiens. I haven't seen this much. Excitement from the fan base in a very long time. All these moves are, surprising as well. You get a winner in Martin St. Louis. He's always played with competitive teams. He knows how to win. He has a Stanley Cup ring to show for it, and he's played with legends like Vincent Lecavalier, Mike Richards. Who am
He
I
is a
missing?
legend.
yeah.
Henrik Lundqvist with the New York Rangers. There's
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos. There's so many you can name. So he knows what it
Rick
takes to
Nash.
win. Yeah, Rick Nash as well. There's so many names linked to Martin St. Louis, but for what he's been able to do, within his career is very impressive for a guy who's 5'7" or 5'8", if I'm not mistaken. And, he defied the odds. Then you have Jeff Gordon, who's a winner at heart. Every organization he's been a part of, winning culture, and
Yeah.
he's been a part of it. And then you have Kent Hughes, the master negotiator, because, he was a player agent. You know, that's
He was an
honest,
agent, and he
yeah, that's an amazing trio, and it's refreshing because they're good in their own respective domains. Essentially,
yeah,
without, if you separate all three of them, it doesn't work. But all together as a trio, I think it's amazing. I think this checks in all the boxes for the Montreal Canadiens, and it's going to be a very interesting NHL trade deadline and offseason. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
no.
I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next. So
Yeah.
far, so good.
Perfect. So let's just take the chance to wish Chris a very happy birthday, as this has
Thank you,
been a
thank
very
you.
Happy birthday.
amazing day
It
for
has been an amazing day.
to be born on today. So Habs fans, we want to hear your thoughts, and also Tampa Bay Lightning fans, New York Ranger fans. What are your thoughts on Martin St. Louis, one of the most legendary and most highly celebrated players in the NHL, to be named a head coach with no experience, but essentially with experience of winning.
Yeah.
Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to
I
check
was
out
just
our other content.
I was
Yeah,
just
what's
gonna
up?
say that the best birthday gift, the third birthday gift, would be 500 subscribers today. That
Yeah,
would be
so
sick.
we're still on the righteous path of trying to hit 1K before August. But thank you guys once again for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Peace.